As the NBA season inches closer, there's a noticeable buzz in the air, and Celtics fans are starting to feel it. Training camp is just around the corner, and we're finally moving past the long off-season full of speculation, podcasts, and viral hot takes. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Iman Shumpert. In case you missed it, Shump recently made waves saying he was more impactful during his time with the Sacramento Kings than when he was riding shotgun on that championship-level Cavs team. He claimed that in Sacramento, he was finally allowed to cook, which is a wild statement when you realize he averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game there. I mean, we love confidence, but there's a fine line between swagger and delusion, and that might have crossed it. Anyway, we're finally shifting focus to real basketball news, especially the kind that could shake up the Eastern Conference standings and, indirectly, the Celtics' path through the season. One of the big headlines that just dropped is the injury to Miami Heat guard Tyler Herro. Reports suggest that he's dealing with a foot tear that will sideline him anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks into the regular season. There's even some wild rumor floating around, and again, just a rumor, that he got hurt playing paintball. Yes, paintball. Whether that's true or not, Herro confirmed the injury himself with a post-surgery photo on social media, giving the camera the finger and saying he was going to tear the league back down once he's out of that weak-ass bed. Classic Herro energy, honestly. Now, what does this mean for Boston? Well, it opens the door just a bit more in the East. The Heat were projected to float somewhere between the 6th and 9th seed, in that play-in territory, and a healthy Miami squad, even without a true superstar outside of Jimmy Butler, was always a threat. But without Herro for a chunk of the season, the landscape shifts. That's a team now relying heavily on Bam Adebayo, who continues to flirt with All-Star and Defensive Player of the Year status, but hasn't fully solidified himself as a true number one option. He's consistent on defense, sure, but offensively, there's still a little left to be desired. And now, with Butler sidelined as well, which puts even more weight on Bam's shoulders, it's fair to wonder if the Heat can keep pace in that top 6 mix. Their roster, as it stands, feels a bit like a patchwork. You've got guys like Norman Powell coming in from a Clippers trade, and then a mix of youth and question marks. Devon Mitchell is likely stepping into a starting point guard role now, and while he showed flashes last season, it's a gamble. Kellel wears an intriguing talent, but still raw, and apparently the coaching staff has been frustrated with his inconsistency. You've got Nikola Jovic, who was hurt last season, and Jamie Jaquez Jr., who's surrounded by more rumors than highlights lately. What we're looking at is a Miami team that's talented but vulnerable, and that opens things up for Boston. This doesn't suddenly catapult the Celtics into contender status, but it certainly clears one more hurdle in their path. Because let's be honest, outside of the Cavs and Knicks, the East is kind of wide open. The Hawks? They're banking on Porzingis staying healthy and Trae Young putting together a real contract year run. Orlando? They've been fun, sure, and Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are ascending, but they haven't even won a playoff series yet. Detroit? They're rebuilding, and while Jaden Ivey and the new additions like Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson could make some noise, they're still mostly unproven. That brings us back to Boston, a team with enough structure and continuity to at least stay in the thick of things. Even with some questions about depth, this roster isn't starting from scratch. You've got Anthony Simons, Peyton Pritchard, and Derek White holding it down in the backcourt with a bit of versatility and scoring punch. Jaylen Brown is still the centerpiece, and, as always, his presence alone gives Boston a fighting chance. The wing depth might be light, but there's still Sam Hauser, maybe some flashes from Jordan Walsh or Josh Minot. Then you've got a rotating big man trio of Nemias Quetta, Luka Garza, and Xavier Tillman. Nothing elite, but enough to get by if they stay healthy and find the right rotations. And listen, Boston's projected win total right now is hovering around 43.5. That places them just behind teams like Cleveland, New York, Orlando, Atlanta, and yes, even Detroit in some models. But when you factor in Miami's injury situation, plus the fact that teams like the Cavs are already dealing with health problems, Darius Garland is expected to miss time, Max Strus might be out for a good chunk of the season. Suddenly the Celtics don't look so far out of that top 5 conversation. Because what these projections often overlook is just how much a solid system and continuity matter in an 82-game grind. And Boston, for all its flaws, has that. They've got chemistry. They've got guys who've been through the wars together. What really might push Boston over the edge, though, is Jaylen Brown. There's a sense that he's entering a new tier, especially after footage dropped of him live streaming, just calling teammates for fun. It's small stuff, but it shows a level of leadership and connection that we haven't always seen from him. The dude is locked in. And honestly, if he stays healthy and the team doesn't flame out early, we could be talking about second-team All-NBA territory for Brown. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Those kinds of numbers feel real if he takes that next step. It's his team now as much as anybody's. So yeah, it's still early. There's still question marks. But the Tyler Herro injury, the instability in Miami, the uncertainty around Philly and Cleveland, all of it chips away at the barriers in front of Boston. They don't need to be perfect. They just need to be stable, cohesive, and opportunistic. And right now, the door to the top 5 in the East is cracked open just enough. The conversation around the Celtics doesn't stop with Miami falling back. Because while that situation certainly shifts the balance a little, there's another storyline brewing that could have a massive impact on how the East unfolds. Skinny Joel Embiid. That's right. We're entering what might be the Joel Embiid era. Photos have surfaced, and reports are flying around that Embiid is in the best shape of his life, that he's dropped weight, and that he's preparing to approach this season with a different mindset. Which, let's be real, is something we hear about every year around this time. Suddenly, every superstar is in the best shape of their life. Everyone's working harder than ever. And for some reason, being in shape becomes headline news for players whose job is to literally stay in shape. Still, with Embiid, it's an interesting case. He's 31 years old now, and there's a legitimate question to ask. Why now? Why is this the first time we're hearing that he's seriously changed his conditioning or training? You'd expect a guy with access to world-class chefs, trainers, recovery specialists, and facilities to always be in peak physical condition. So when someone like Embiid suddenly slims down, it makes you wonder what's changed behind the scenes. Maybe it's pressure. Maybe it's realizing that the window for a championship is starting to close. Or maybe it's just survival. Because the Sixers have lived and died by Embiid's health every year, and they know they can't afford another season where he's sidelined at the wrong time. Now, the ripple effect of skinny Embiid goes deeper than just memes and fitness praise. If this new version of Embiid really does help him stay on the floor, Philadelphia becomes one of the wild cards in the conference. Because their ceiling is still incredibly high, but their floor? Equally low. Tyrese Maxey is the real deal and might be the one to take over the keys this year. There's a sense around the league that he's ready to make a leap, maybe even to the point where he becomes Philly's best player this season. Not because Embiid falls off, but because Maxey rises that much. Add to that some intriguing pieces like VJ Edgecombe, who they lucked into with a high draft pick, and Jared McCain, who was turning heads before his injury last season, and there's a lot of upside. But the health questions don't stop with Embiid. Paul George is already expected to miss training camp after a procedure in the offseason, and that puts added strain on a rotation that needs all hands on deck. They've got Kelly Oubre still there, Andre Drummond as a backup, and a few other wild cards in the mix, but it's really going to come down to whether this team can keep its core healthy. If Embiid plays 70-plus games and Maxey continues to blossom, they're a real threat. But if Embiid misses significant time again, we could easily see this team drop all the way down to the play-in, maybe even lower, which again plays right into Boston's hands. Because the East isn't full of juggernauts anymore. Sure, Cleveland and New York look strong on paper, but both are already facing injury issues. The Cavs lost Ty Jerome in free agency, Darius Garland is banged up, and Max Struss might be out for most of the season. That's a lot of firepower gone before the games even begin. New York, meanwhile, has a new coach and a few questions surrounding how that rotation will work out. If anything goes wrong in those systems, they could come back to the pack quickly. Meanwhile, Orlando is still a team with a lot to prove. They've made progress, but they haven't crossed that finish line in the playoffs yet. Paolo Banchero is turning into a legitimate star. Franz Wagner is as steady as they come, and Desmond Bane adds some real scoring punch. But they still need to solve the big man rotation, with Wendell Carter Jr. as the current anchor. Until they figure that out and prove they can win in the postseason, it's hard to fully trust their ceiling. Atlanta is another question mark. They've got talent, no doubt, but a lot hinges on Porzingis staying healthy, which is never a given. Trae Young is still electric, but this might be his final season before securing a major contract, and there's pressure to finally put together a winning campaign. If either of those dominoes falls, Atlanta could spiral. Detroit, though, that's the wildest card of them all. They've lost Malik Beasley, but added Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. And if Jaden Ivey makes that sophomore leap, they could be sneaky dangerous. But again, that's a lot of ifs. All of that puts Boston in a pretty favorable spot. Even if the Celtics aren't the most talented team on paper, they have something that most of these teams don't: structure, chemistry, and a core that's been through the grind together. The system is intact. The pieces know their roles. And if you're projecting win totals, that continuity alone feels like a guaranteed mid-40 season, which is why the Vegas line, sitting at 43.5 wins, feels like an opportunity. You look at the depth, the rotation, and the upside of someone like Jaylen Brown taking another leap, and it's easy to see a path to a 47 or 48 win season. That brings us to Jaylen himself. If this really is the year he breaks through into that second-team All-NBA conversation, the Celtics become a completely different animal. His confidence is clearly there. He's showing more personality off the court, connecting with fans, live streaming with teammates, just being more present in a way that suggests he's comfortable being a leader now. He's ready to shoulder more of the responsibility, and if he does, we might be looking at a career year. 27 points per game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Those are superstar numbers, and if he's doing that while the Celtics are winning, you can't ignore him. The funny thing is, Jaylen might be the most underrated star in the league right now. Because while the media and fans love to pick apart his game, what gets lost is how much of the heavy lifting he does. Tatum might be gone, but Jaylen's still here, still grinding, still growing. And this year, it's his team in a very real way. He's going to have the ball more, he's going to initiate offense more, and he's going to have to carry them in key stretches. If he's ready for that, the rest of the team will follow. So what we've got here is a Celtics team that isn't flashy, isn't full of superstars, but is built to punch above its weight. They've got solid guard play with Simons, Pritchard, and Derek White. They've got wings who can shoot, even if they're improving. And they've got bigs who, while not elite, can hold down the paint and play their roles. But more than anything, they've got the chance to gel. And if the top of the conference keeps dealing with injuries, bad chemistry, or inconsistent play, Boston could slide right into a top 4 seed without needing to reinvent the wheel. The East might be more open than people think. With Miami stumbling, Philly's health in question, and Cleveland already dealing with setbacks, the Celtics are positioned better than most expect. It's going to come down to consistency, health, and leadership. But if Jaylen Brown really is ready to take that next step, and the supporting cast holds the line, there's no reason this team can't be one of the surprise stories of the season. They don't need everything to go perfectly. They just need enough to break right. And right now, it's starting to feel like that might actually happen. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has left fans across the basketball world stunned, whispers are growing louder that Boston Celtics superstar Jayson Tatum could be on the verge of a shocking departure to the Los Angeles Lakers. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the situation suggest that negotiations are heating up, and the possibility of one of the league's most talented forwards switching coasts is becoming increasingly plausible. Tatum, who has been the face of the Celtics for several seasons, has delivered countless memorable performances in Boston, cementing his status as a franchise cornerstone. From buzzer beaters to playoff heroics, the 25-year-old forward has consistently shown why he is regarded as one of the premier talents in the NBA. Yet, despite the adoration of the Celtics faithful, rumors are swirling that Tatum is ready for a new challenge, and the Lakers, desperate to reclaim their glory days, may be ready to offer exactly that. The potential move has ignited a firestorm of debate among fans and analysts alike. Some see it as a natural evolution for a player seeking championship glory in Los Angeles, while others are calling it an unprecedented betrayal, a historic treachery against the green and white faithful. Social media has been ablaze with speculation, memes, and heated discussions, with many Celtics fans expressing shock and disbelief at the mere suggestion that their superstar could don purple and gold. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders claim that preliminary talks have already taken place, and the Lakers are reportedly preparing a package that could make this audacious transfer a reality. While the Celtics have yet to publicly respond, it is clear that the league could be on the cusp of one of the most sensational moves in recent memory. If Tatum does make the jump, it would not only reshape the NBA landscape, but also ignite a bitter rivalry between two of the league's most storied franchises. As the rumor mill churns, one thing is certain. The basketball world will be watching closely, waiting to see if Boston's crown jewel truly heads west. Could this be the beginning of a Lakers dynasty powered by Tatum? Or is it just another fleeting rumor destined to fizzle? Only time will tell, but for now, the whispers of betrayal are louder than ever. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.